Okay, we're recording and I'm going to mute you now.
Okay, it is 6th of January at 6:30. We're opening this meeting for a TIF program. Dick, do you want to go on and start, you and Tammy?
Yeah, I can give a summary if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Carrie and I and various people, including the engineer, have met several times with Kenny Ryan, and we think we're ready to proceed with what the city has to do. I came up with kind of a checklist on what I felt we needed to have done, and we've kind of agreed to that. So I just want to review that with you, a little outline. So we first thought that Kenny needed to have an agreement with the stairs. I think Kenny and his brother pretty well got that tied down. The next step would be get an agreement with the city about what the city was going to do as far as tax increment or any other financial assistance. After that has been done, I think the intent was that Kenny would then Kenny and his business FabTech would then sign a purchase agreement with stairs, which would be contingent upon, the survey and some other more engineering that needs to be done. During that same period of time, we were going to draft a development agreement with the city, which would outline what the city is going to do and what he's going to do. Along with that same time, we would also start drafting a tax increment plan. After we had the tax increment plan, or at least agreed to, or in works, we would then we have to send notice to the county and the school district of our TIF plan, and then we need a public hearing. But before we have a public hearing, we have to have notice of a public hearing. So the purpose of tonight basically is to start that process of calling for a public hearing to consider the TIF plan that the city, I think, is going to propose. The reason we had to have a special meeting is because there are some time considerations for FabTech, and they wanted us to do it as early as possible. Even if it's only a week from our next meeting, this will help us keep things moving along. So we would propose that we'd have a public hearing on February 10th to consider the tax increment plan. And then shortly after that was approved, I think Mr. Ryan and FabTech would then close on that purchase of that property. After that was done, he of course would have to present a basic site plan to the city, and we'd have to get specifically, we need to know about drainage and whatever else our engineer thinks we got to have for our site plan. In that period of time, I think he'd have to finalize a little bit further his architectural plan, or he's got an architect, but finalize a little bit for his building plan, and we would then approve that building plan and send it out to the county for their review and appraisal, so we could get a building permit. After that was done, now we're talking hopefully, and we're hoping to get some dirt work and maybe some construction done hopefully in June. We would then see that there'd be two things going on simultaneously. Number one, he would be doing the dirt work on his land, but also we expect that the city would have to extend water and sewer and a small driveway to his property. After when construction is completed, we would then, for 9 years, we would return to him the tax increment, and he would receive those payments in July and January. And the reason July and January is because we receive our property tax statements in June and December, and that would give us time to get the money and pay him. So we one day last week when we met, we had Tammy Amdahl on the line because we thought we needed some more information from her as far as the tax increment project. We also had Reese on the line. Tammy has come up with a schedule of what we need to follow with respect to the rules and regulations on the TIF plan. And basically, if we approve this, if we approve the resolution calling for a public hearing tonight, that would then be, we would then send notice to the school district and the county on or about January 11th. We'd have to publish in a paper by the January, I guess January 25th. We have to get it to the paper by January 25th and then publish it on January 30th. We didn't have our public hearing to establish a district would be on February 10th at City Hall at 6:30. And that's where we'd also review the development agreement as requested by Mr. Ryan. Assuming that all went good, we would then have we have to bring the documents to the county and have them, have the county auditor sign off on it. After that, they sign off that in March. We would then submit it to the state. We'd expect the state to do the certification on or about June 30th. So Tammy also, we've also been working on some numbers here, and based upon what we think the project is going to generate as far as taxes. As I mentioned, we can go 9 years. Now, again, this is a little bit different than our senior living project. The senior living project, that was only going to be a tax abatement, the city's portion of the project. This would be the cities, the counties, and the school district's portion. We had estimated over the 9-year period, it would be, and Tammy, you correct me if I'm wrong, it would be about $879,000. Included in this figure, though, is 4% interest. So we'd be paying about $700,000 plus 4, and then when you put the interest on that, it's about 4%. Is that correct, Tammy? I think that's correct. Okay, I think I got those numbers right. Okay, and that's based upon a little over $3 million building project, about 3.2 million. So what I think what the plan would be for today is to call for a public hearing, and then we have lots of work to do between then and the public hearing as far as getting agreements done as far as with now. I think there was a consensus, at least amongst the city people and Kenny, that what we were going to do is, in addition to the tax increment financing, we would extend a short portion of the street along with the city and water, so he has city and water availability to him going in the building. Now, we don't know how far we're going to go on that, but that's what I guess Carrie had thought there has been a precedent set when Ag Partners put their fertilizer plant in. That's what we did for them, and we want to do something similar, but I'll let Carrie speak to that. So that's all I have to say. If Tammy, if I say anything wrong, or Carrie, if I said anything wrong, or Kenny, if I said anything wrong, let me know and we'll correct it. But I think that's what a kind of a summary of what we're going to talk about tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Tammy, you want to come in on that?
Mayor, council members, Tammy Umdahl with Northland Securities. Dick did a nice job summarizing that, and I would just note those numbers that he quoted are still preliminary, and the city council gets to make the decision on a tax increment financing district. While we will need to notice the school district and the county on your behalf, they can provide comment. They don't have veto power on TIF districts.
One thing I'd like to add, Carrie, if it's okay, as far as the economic impact to the city of Goodhue, we did talk about that with Mr. Ryan, and we have two things that we're looking to do as far as this business in Goodhue. Number one is to expand our tax base, and hopefully there'll be some spinoff if this is in Goodhue. We hope that, he thinks eventually are pretty close. He's going to add about 15 new jobs above and beyond what his current facilities have. So we're kind of excited about that. But I do believe eventually this is going to lead to some more spinoff work, because he is going to have people working there and coming to town and hopefully spending some money. And that's what the point. We won't realize any direct tax revenue for a while, but I still, I guess Carrie thinks it still is something we want to do. Like I told Carrie, I don't remember ever us having probably the last significant manufacturing company we had in Goodhue was the creamery. You know, they made cheese, and we really and they made cheese and sold it. And if we've never really had anybody that has had a value added business in Goodhue, and that's something I guess I'd like to see too, if we can make it work for everybody. So I think, is that correct, Carrie? What are your thoughts? You can speak for yourself. I don't speak for you.
No, you're doing a good job at it. You know, the only issue I had is what we were talking about today, and that's how far we're gonna bring that street down. And you and Kenny and I talked about that, and we were talking about 100 feet, you know, and that would get us into his driveway, so we wouldn't have to put that whole street in. I mean, that would save us some money, and hopefully we can maybe do it with our crews, you know.
Yeah, Carrie and I did discuss that. Carrie came up with the idea, you know, if we're just going to extend a water main and a sewer main, you know, and we're just going to put, you know, we got some in it, but just get a decent base and put some, you know, build it to specs or some kind of specs. Because chances are, if we ever put a blacktop street, one thing Kenny did agree to do, we're going to reserve a right of way on part of his property. I think we talked about that for a future street. But you know, we might be able to get, maybe we can have our city crews do it, especially if it's in sometime in May or something. There might even be maybe we could hire some temporary summer help to try and keep these costs down. I mean, Steve and those guys put the gas main in, and they do that themselves now anyway, right, Carrie?
Yes, they do.
And I would think they would be able to put a water main in but we'll just have to see. But anyway, so anyway, that's all I got to say.
That's thought that we were talking about, maybe to try to save the city some money on it, but what else do we need to talk about on this? Anybody got any questions? Wayne? You gotta unmute yourself though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So now the amount of the tax increment going to like FabTech, those are estimated amounts, but we're going to make those payments no matter what, correct? Whether we see that realistically or not. Is that how that works?
Tammy, why don't you answer that question? You're the expert.
Mayor, council members, no, you would not make that payment no matter what. So let's just use these estimated numbers that we have referred to. You would agree to reimburse them up to $700,000 over 9 years with 4% interest. Those are preliminary numbers that will be subject to a final agreement, payable solely from the tax increment that is generated. So if, for example, the valuation is less than what we have estimated, or tax rates change in the future that would cause their property taxes to be less, you would pay them less an increment. So it's up to $700,000 preliminary number over 9 years. And final payment is when you reimburse them that amount or the 9 years is reached. There's also a scenario that, let's just say the valuation comes in higher. It's possible you could pay them back sooner than the 9 years, and then the district would go away.
One I'd like to add, one thing, Wayne, and address your question too. That's a concern that Kenny had, that he wants he was concerned that, and I don't want to speak for him, so if I'm saying something wrong, Kenny, just drop in here. He was concerned about the valuation, you know, if it gets, is it higher or too high, or that the big bad county comes in and puts in so high it's not right. I said we do have a certain amount of flexibility as a city council to adjust that valuation based upon what we think is fair. We have done that before, not so much for commercial projects, but we've done it for residential projects for sure. So that's something that if we thought the value got way out of whack, we can't raise it, but we could lower it. So if things got way out of whack, but then that would be to his detriment eventually because he's going to get all that increment anyway up to a certain point. Kenny, is that one concern that you had? You got to unmute yourself.
That was my concern is, I mean, great if I'm paying less taxes, that doesn't hurt my feelings. But if you're higher than what you do the TIF, then it's a disadvantage.
Right.
So I mean, if it really did come back that the valuation was lower than what I think it's gonna be, that doesn't affect me one way or another.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have anything else, Carrie.
Anybody else have any other questions?
I have another question. So the TIF boundary that apparently on the map pretty much includes all of Goodhue, is that right?
Goodhue has a municipal development district, but the TIF, this project will be limited to this 20 acres. Okay. You have a municipal, now some towns put the whole, I've seen some towns put the whole town in a tax increment district. The development district is in the whole town, but the TIF district is just this one, or it's going to be about 20 acres. That's correct, right, Tammy? Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, that helps. Thank you.
Got anything else, Wayne?
I'm looking. I wrote down a few things, but I think that a lot of them have already been covered. So, yeah, no, that was it. So great. Appreciate it.
Okay, anybody else have anything?
I had a quick question. Just a clarifying, did you say it would add 15 more jobs?
Well, he currently has about, I think, he currently has about 30 people. So we're looking at, he said in the short term, he was probably going to add about 15, and those would probably be online about the time he moves to Goodhue. But I think, is that correct, Kenny?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We did come to agreement with stairs too. So as far as that portion, we're set there.
Great.
Well, that was the best part right there. So that'll set the ball rolling, then you come in with agreement on it, so. Okay, so the next thing then we'll have to do is make a resolution for the TIF district, right, Dick?
Yeah, there's we'd like to have a resolution that would, that I think Lori has it there, somebody got, you got it there too, that would set the public hearing for Wednesday, February 10th at
6:30.
6:30, and this would do a modification of the development district number 1, which is a Goodhue, and establish a new financing district number 5 in Goodhue, and then we have to put the notice in the paper and serve it on over, or send notice to where we got to go, and then I think there's a copy of that public hearing, that notice that's on the back of that particular motion or resolution.
Okay, so can I concede a motion to accept the resolution?
Tom just said he would, I think.
So move. So move.
Okay, second?
Second.
Kaya.
I'll second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to go with the resolution for TIF district
1-5.
there it is, 1-5. All in favor, say aye, or raise your hands. I gotta keep going between screens here to see everybody. Rick is up. Wayne, okay, Motion carried. So that's it for right now then, right, Dick?
Yeah, that's all, that's it. So then, not that we're not talking about this tonight, but we also have, at our next meeting, I expect we're gonna have some more stuff on that senior living.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay?
So well, I can ask this, did you get a hold of that asbestos people?
Yeah, I can ask this because it's related to this project. Yeah, they're gonna be hopefully up here next week at K&A Demolition. His guy's name was Aaron Hess, and he's gonna come up and do a test on that so we can get that bill. And I also asked Mr. Fitzgerald to give us a quote, and we're gonna take another quote from somebody else too.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
just get the ball rolling on that too. Well, I wanna thank everybody for coming or tuning in tonight, or whatever you wanna call it. Thank you for Rick and Tom for joining in. I know you thought you were done, but you weren't quite done yet till next week, so. You never know what's gonna happen. So,
That's right. This is fine.
yep. Can I get a motion to adjourn then?
So moved.
Taya and Wayne? All in favor, say aye. Or raise your hand. We're adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right.
Thank you,
See you
Tammy,
guys.
Melissa, and Kenny.
All right, see you guys around.
Bye.
Thanks. All right, goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.